Danny, we're back for another episode of Mob Rules.
Hell yeah, son.
Mob Rules made Chapter Tactics a very famous and better podcast by Frontline Gaming. We made their top 30 over 30 podcasts.
That's amazing, dude. I was pretty proud of ourselves.
Pretty proud, yeah. And they actually were super nice about us, which was super good. But
for some reason,
they described us as a hybrid podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Which is, what? No.
What?
Wait, so
no, we're not. So we're not a hybrid podcast? I thought we were a hybrid podcast.
It's both competitive and casual.
Right.
And we've been dropping the ball with our casual demographic. And that's why no one listens to this show. It's not the content. It's not the factual inaccuracies. It's not the fact that I haven't won anything like ever.
But John, if you keep playing in more ITC tournaments.
Well, I have a ban list. So there's this list of words.
Wait, what?
That you're not allowed to use because it's going to turn off the casual demo.
Oh.
And just, yeah. So, and let me add one in here. We're just going to add new models.
Well, wait, what?
So from this episode, you're not allowed to use the following words.
Okay.
Tactical.
What about tactical?
No, because see, you have to play from the heart in a way that reflects your story that you made up for your own chapter.
But what about the established lore, John?
So that's fine up until 2018, but after 2018, we're absolutely not allowed to mention or agree with it, no matter how valid it is and how much it actually improves the story. We cannot point that out.
All right.
On that note, Primaris. Don't mention them. They're gone. They're bad. They're bad for the casual crowd. They don't like them.
How are they bad for the casual crowd?
So they haven't bought a model since like 1995, and Primaris means they have to. Which brings me to our next ban word.
Fair.
New models and purchases. Don't mention it. It makes us seem elitist and high class.
Because we have the fortune of being able to buy new models.
Yeah, and also we're falling for this awful company's plan to make us buy things.
I promise I will never buy a new model again while I'm on this podcast.
Wait, I don't like that at all. We'll talk about that later. Also, win. We can't talk about winning. It's not about the wins. It's the stories and the games we play along the way. Right. And then we can't try. We're having fun. And then don't mention the ITC or...
What if I'm trying to have fun?
I mean... You got to Yoda it, man. Do or do
all
not.
Right, all right. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, so we are now... This is... Your ban list of words,
right.
we can't
I've got
use
this
them
in front of me. I will try not to use that.
So, mob rules for casuals now,
Only.
more so than competitive. Danny, tell me about what your thoughts about the new Space Marine Codex are going to be.
Yep.
Oh man, we are back. We are quite aware that we attract a casual audience. It's want to have fun with it because stereotypes exist for a reason.
We attract a large audience. That's what I'm going to say. Or how about a diverse audience?
Surprisingly, because
we at Mob Rules, we're all about diversity.
We are diversity,
diversity rules,
inclusion, and a joke that we can throw in here that I didn't have time to think of. Obviously. Welcome, Mob Rules.
Joke here.
Jokebot 3000. I edit this thing. I am John, joined as always by
Danny.
And we are here to hopefully entertain. Again, I want to thank everyone who's watched and listened along the past couple of weeks as we not only release this podcast as one giant long-form essay,
right,
but then also cut it up
into some digestible short stories, John.
Digestible short stories for consumption on YouTube. So thank you for everyone who's watched along for that, who's downloaded. It's been fun. It's been a lot of great. Can I just say before we start, I have like a new favorite sound clip that I will use.
Yeah, okay, go ahead,
for
man.
Every episode here. So like I said, we're spotlighted for a little bit, as well as like a ton of other great podcasts. If you ever want to know what podcasts to listen to, if you go to Chapter Tactics episode 170, they have about 30 to 35 different podcasts, YouTube channels, article sites.
Yep.
Just a great resource for like all different kinds of things, and they kind of specifically list out what the purpose of each one is for.
Right.
And it's a super good job all around. They did review our fellow Rogue Trader Network.
They did.
Allies,
They did. Yeah.
the Dangly Boys.
They did.
They did. You were going to say something there real quick?
No, I mean, well, I was going to say they reviewed all of the Rogue Trader Network. Podcasts.
All of them, yeah. High Lords of Terror obviously do phenomenal work there.
And the NZ40K Shabal.
The NZ40K Shabal, 40 Shabal.
Sorry.
All rousing reviews. It was this particular line from a certain bird statistician. That's a word. Statistician.
Yeah, that's a word.
Yeah, that's the word right
You
there.
nailed it.
That really kind of impressed me with their review of the Dangly Boys.
While they're talking about hobby, etc. It's an okay podcast. I enjoy Seth's commentary on a number of topics. So
Yeah.
I mean that's pretty good.
Man,
I mean
that's pretty,
that's
high praise.
High praise,
podcast.
While they're talking about hobby, etc. It's an okay podcast.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And
That's a pretty good summation of that podcast.
I also like that they didn't actually specify that he enjoys Seth's opinion on 40K. He just said things
like birds.
like as Falcon from 40K Stat Center is a bird, and Seth is a bird doctor.
Yep.
It's like a match made in heaven, right?
I know, yeah.
So he has to be there.
He's just trying to get some free healthcare, I think. Although he lives in Canada, so why?
So we want to start off today by breaking things up a little bit, breaking up the formula. Because when I was listening to that chapter tactics as well, they were like, these are, if your podcast starts with a "What have we been up to" segment, you're a hybrid podcast.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, that's fair, but let's kind of break it up a little bit, and we'll move on to that stuff later there.
Okay.
What I want to talk to you about is we kind of brain bashed a little midweek here.
Yes. And by that I mean we both got into rooms in our house and slammed our heads against the wall,
and then when
until
we woke
ideas fell out. Yeah, and then we woke up. We had some really rad.
It was
text message conversations,
Memento style, just like tattoos, everywhere of kind of.
You mean Finding Dory?
Yeah, yeah. Niles is Vin Diesel. I think that was my first one.
We did have a really great conversation about Frasier and the Fast and Furious as a
mashup there.
It sounds awesome.
With Niles is Vin Diesel and Frasier is Paul Walker. It made me happy. Oh, and the dad Martin, he was the Rock.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, that was great.
Oh man.
While they're talking about hobby, etc. It's an okay podcast. I
mean, they could be talking about us too. But yeah, so we were talking about what an honest GT pack it would be.
Oh yeah, right.
Because Danny, we've been to like lots of GTs and RTTs and tournaments and all the big ones like your majors like LVO, SoCal, and even your GTs. They come with these little packs,
usually, yes,
which is like a little description of the missions, the rule set that's being used, as well as some kind of code of conduct and.
Sure, like where to find the bathroom, maybe.
Yeah, and then some kind of general behavior things. We kind of just came up with some super sarcastic, like honest GT pack information.
Some talking points that everybody should take into account.
If you're going to a GT, these are things that you should expect and should be on every
already.
Everyone here. Here's one that hits home for me personally. If you're 0-4, so you've lost 4 games, you're in your final game of the tournament. Please do not call a judge over to verify measure distance. No one cares at this point. Right. Not even you. You don't even care if you win this. You're like, just drop it. Like, yeah, it's true. It's true.
Just let it go, guys.
Just let it go.
And also, no one cares if you're cheating, if you're losing. So just keep that in mind. Same token.
Yeah. I think there was a Flying Monkey podcast about that. Yeah, you came second at an RTT.
Which, hey, nice work, man.
Great job.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, personally. No, you're probably not going to win the GT. No, it really wasn't just that one mistake you made that made you lose. It was probably like an amalgamation of forgetfulness.
Of like 2 mistakes. No, just kidding.
It's like the Doubleman Spearman move.
There you go. Let's see here. So if your opponent is more famous than you are, lose 10 points and most judge calls.
That's fair. Yeah. That does happen. Can you imagine if you're playing like, say, Nick Benanaventi, and you're at the table?
Benanavati?
Yeah. And you call the judge over to the table, and he's like, "Oh, hey, man, how's it going?" and you forget that it's just one giant circle jerk of socialization at that level.
It's true. It's true.
At this point, if you're making that judge call against this, 40K celebrity,
Right.
You better have like
Oh, man, you
your
better be
evidence
fucking
logged.
ironclad.
You better have like everything. You got to have your objections lined up.
It doesn't even matter if you have photographic evidence.
Oh, poor Tim.
Just kidding.
Poor Tim.
Kind of.
Hey, and on that line, for every $97 a month you pay your opponent currently,
Yep.
Lose primary for one turn. As you're just kind of like
That's so
in awe of like, man, this guy I pay for me to be good at 40K is whipping my ass at 40K. You think
For sure.
You think the business move, like the sound business move for that was if you like are running a coaching service and you are playing one of your coachees,
Yeah.
have him whip your ass and be like, oh man, how did you get so good?
God, I had no idea.
God, like I'm number one in the ITC
All right,
right
hold
now.
on. Please don't ruin my business model for my coaching service.
Danny's Feel Good Warhammer Club.
It's the Warhammer Joy Luck Club.
Julie's like, do you want to charge me with that unit of Terminators? And you're like, that's fine. You might overwatch me.
But they have Thunderhammers and Storm Shields. I don't know, man. Maybe they have a Vortex Grenade. It might be 5th edition again.
Oh man, Salt City here.
Hell yeah, son. All right. So let's see here. If your opponent has a podcast, deduct 10 minutes from your total game time for them to tell you about it.
I gotta
So-
say, when we were in LVO last year, I think we made a huge point of during the championship tournament of not actually mentioning our podcast at all.
Whoa, wait a minute.
I didn't. I never mentioned my
Oh, man.
podcast at all.
Did I
you?
mention it every single game? Man, you really screwed the pooch there,
I
John.
did. We did in the team tournament just because like all the shit we were giving away was like related to that.
I think Dave said he did it like half the time.
Yeah, but I just did not like at all. Like at least 2 rounds worth.
Right.
And then just at this point, everyone has a podcast. Everyone
True.
has a YouTube
true.
channel. You just got to add 10 minutes to that game clock. From that, remember to listen intently when your opponent tells you about their podcast because yes, they do have one.
Almost certainly.
Almost certainly at this point, it's especially with our pandemic year, where everyone's like sitting at home, creating content is the way to go. I mean, man,
For real.
for real. Hey, lunch breaks will be between 1 and 2.
Oh, I like that.
If BCP is in use, round will start 3 hours after the lunch break ends. Which
That's pretty good.
it's well deserved. I think that should be in the official LVO packet for next year.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
Even if it's not true, like I think it would get a good laugh
For sure.
for being in there.
Yeah, just like
You gotta laugh at yourself.
have in the schedule like delay for PCP breakdown.
I just want to thank BCP for continually sponsoring.
Yes,
this
thank you
podcast
guys.
for
We really
several
do
years.
appreciate that.
Thank God no one listens. Oh, this one here. If your opponent is in the top 150 of the ITC, their interpretation of the rules is always correct and may never be questioned.
It's true.
It's true.
I've actually heard that before.
You have.
Yeah.
I was just being sarcastic.
In fact, I've used that before.
I think the important thing to remember is it's absolutely not true at all.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you say, John.
Yeah, it's really not. And finally,
Yep.
to round out, why don't you round us out here?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
If you roll Vanguard Strike, just pick Dawn of War. We know that you're not going to bother with the math, which is fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
No, like the first, like, is I think it's the only mission type that you would roll randomly, and you'd land on Vanguard, and it's the only one you'd be like, hey, want to just do this? And you're like, yeah.
True. It's 21 and a half and 14 and a half, by the way.
Other ones, well, not anymore. Because they
cool.
did the correct
and they
math
actually
in the book.
have the measurements in the
Yeah.
book now. Thank God for 9th edition. Isn't 9th
Thank
edition
God
great?
for ninth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like
Serious.
before, like if you rolled, like if I rolled like Hammer and Anvil, and I'm like, oh, dang it, I don't want to play this one. I'm like, oh, well, I got to put up with it.
Right.
But if you rolled Vanguard, you were
Like,
just like,
oftentimes I'll be like, hey, do you want to just do maybe, I don't know, like Dawn War? Then be like, okay.
yeah.
Almost always.
Super good. So that's some of our unspoken rules for GTs that we think should be
Pay
in there.
attention.
Pay attention. You know, what are some of your guys' unspoken rules? I'm expecting some real salt in the comments from this.
Yep.
Just as point to the bone. Remember, I'm terrible. I went 2-4 at LVO. So feel free to point that out.
I thought you went 3-3.
No, I lost Thank You Mistress in the last round because I got creeped out. That's my one mistake. I was like,
yeah, that's fair.
If your opponent says thank you, mistress,
just lose to get it over with.
Just get it over with.
Hey, speaking about running tournaments, remember to use our sponsor and tournament software, Best Coast Pairings.
Dude, I'm the best. I took first place at another tournament.
First off, stop with the thunder and lightning. You don't impress me. And second, let me check out the BCP rankings. And I don't see you on there.
What?
Your TO needs to download the Best Coast Pairings app and run events on it. After the event, the results are uploaded into BCP rankings, and the best part, it's easy and free.
But I play multiple game systems.
No big deal. The BCP app can be used for any game. A ton of events every weekend are using it, from major international tournaments to local stores. And now that it's available on Android devices, you're going to have some serious competition.
There can be only one.
BCP Rankings is a fun and exciting way to measure how you or your team stack up. No matter what you play, your score goes to an overall ranking, or compete to be the best in a game, a circuit, a region, or the world.
Download the app or visit www.bestcoastpairings.com for more info.
Best Coast Pairings.
Are you the best?
The worst character in Warhammer 40,000 ever.
I keep forgetting how slow I say that. I really need to speed that up by like 20% or so here.
Okay.
But we're back. We're here to now talk about our fifth entry into the worst character in the ever in 40K list.
John,
And-
at the end of this, we're going to have a top 5.
We're going to have a top 5.
Hell yeah.
And moving forward, we're only going to have a top 5.
Yep.
So after this week, new characters coming are going to knock off some of these fine people here. So far, we have... I'm going to move the microphone with me to help the YouTube commenter who said that I didn't... it hurt wearing headphones and not talking into the mic. Our worst... we have a number 4, the Avatar of Cain, who perennial favorite of Danny and I.
Yep.
In the YouTube comments as well, they let us know that, he's awful, but also not. So,
Right.
very common.
We feel for him on like a deep emotional
We do.
Yeah.
I love the model. I love the Forge World model. Heck, I even love the goofy little guy from
I
the
love
second
Mini-Me.
edition. Yeah, I love Mini-One. At 3, it's the unkillable, unfallible, unplayable Kato Sicarius.
Kato Sicarius.
Yeah, Kato, whatever. At number 2, Kaldor Drago, the Grey Knight Mary Sue, just tattooing hearts and minds everywhere.
Yeah, amateur tattoo artist.
Amateur tattoo artist, full-time asshole. Yeah. And then number 1 on our list up here, Thazar, the Necron Pirate. He's going to be a hard one to knock off.
Dude, that is going to be really tough.
It's going to be really hard.
So I started working on a model for him.
Oh, good. Yeah. We are making a Thazar model. He at least deserves that. And then hopefully just play him as, I don't know, like a random warrior, because that's all he deserves.
He's going to be an overlord for sure.
An aspiring
Just wait.
one.
He's an aspiring overlord.
This week we are talking about Inquisitors, and this is kind of as our faction focused Imperium.
Sure.
As just like Games Workshop, our release schedule is very Imperium orientated.
Well, probably
this deserves a.
there's like
there we go.
there's like 20 factions and like 15 of them are Imperial.
That's
so
fair.
Like,
It's fair. This is Inquisitor Karamazov. Karamazov, if you don't know him, he's the dude sitting on a dreadnought.
the Pyrophant Judge of Salem Proctor.
So yeah, there's not a lot out there about him. There's enough to annoy us though, which I think is why we brought him up.
Yeah.
He was submitted by Mitch.
Yep.
Mitch Pelham from the Best Infection podcast.
Yep.
As someone we should look into for this, and well, we do.
We'll do it.
We'll do it. We do it. I mean,
Absolutely.
heck, it's not like we have anything planned for this ever.
I mean, we just wing it.
We-
So.
as you can obviously tell. Yeah, Fyodor. So I think my main issue with him, after kind of looking into him, is the Inquisition. The Emperor is kind of like secret police, right? And they're there to kind of stop heresy.
Sure.
Like he is Ordo Hereticus, so he's meant to like root out heresy and kind of
Correct.
destroy it and kind of work from the shadows to do it.
Oh,
This guy.
not this guy.
No. He's like, he saw a dreadnought and he was like, hey, put a chair on top of that.
Can you rip the half-dead Space Marine hero out of that thing and
Yeah.
let me sit on his little corpse throne, please?
Shove my office chair up here. I'm not ready to be dead yet. And
Make
those
sure it swivels, bitch.
those two servants of mine, please just turn them into servitors, wire them into the throne.
They can't leave.
I'm just going to lead massive armies into planet-wide battles and then call it good.
Yep.
Which like just is so against the mission of the Inquisition to me.
All right. So to be fair, if I was an Inquisitor, this guy would be me because I would just like go into a world and say, "Oh, fuck it, just burn it all. Who cares?" I mean, there'll be some overspill, but like, okay. So this guy to me, right? Imagine Professor X,
Okay.
right? And then imagine you have no psychic powers, even though other Inquisitors have lots of psychic powers.
So just like an angry bald dude in a wheelchair.
Yeah, more or less, but your wheelchair has stupid legs that have the Inquisition symbols, so when you walk, they leave Inquisition symbols everywhere. So, like, not only does everybody know you're coming because you're creating all these battles, they know exactly where you've been.
Man, who found our hideout? I don't know. There's just these giant eyes all over the place. Tim has one stamped into his back.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Oh, man. And so, like, also, his title is a total fucking ripoff of The Crucible.
So this is like the least subtle homage I think I've ever seen from GW.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, and
for
this
real.
includes like Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau, which is more subtle than this guy here.
Only slightly, though.
Only slightly, yeah. He's inspired by the Crucible.
Yep.
Which is where he gets his title from.
Because just burn everybody and we'll let God sort him out, right? That's kind of his MO.
His name is a reference to a novel, The Brothers Karamazov.
Yep.
Which the most famous chapter of it is called The Grand Inquisitor. So it's almost like they're like, hey guys, we need a new vehicle or something. I don't know. We're doing witch hunters. Dreadnought. I don't care. And
Whatever.
someone Googled witches Grand Inquisitor fire. And then just kind of like amalgamated all of the Google search results. Or I'm sorry, Lycos search results.
Yeah,
'cause
thank
this
you.
was back in the day. And then kind of put it all together. Word gear wise, he rides in his throne of judgment.
Right.
And it's called that because he's kind of like,
He sees himself as a judge.
he's a crippled Judge Dredd, I think is the best way to look at it.
Okay. I can see that. Well, he's not crippled. You know, he can walk just fine.
He just chooses not
He
to.
chooses not to, like, soil his feet upon the world of a heretical, his feet on the soil of a heretical world.
And then, so he, as a judge or an inquisitor, which is pretty much the same thing, it
can be.
There's you're either guilty or guilty of wasting his time.
Right. So you're getting the tri-barreled multi-melta either way.
Either way, you're getting that right in there. So he doesn't the other inquisitors don't like him because they're all like,
clandestine,
I
like
just
trying to
imagine-
like excise the evil like a surgeon. He's like, no, just kill the whole body.
it's just that, like they're kind of sneaking along the wall and just fucking Kool-Aid Man Karamazov just smashes through the walls and is like, where's the heretics at, man? And they're like, 5 months of work just gone.
I wish we had the servo stomp right now because that's like super accurate.
Man.
Yeah.
Let's just
Ugh.
It's
So I'm like, all right, so we've been tracking down this heretical cell for months.
They will the head of the cult will flee the moment they sound trouble. We really just have to just go in slow and stealthy and
What's up, bros? Who's ready to roast some heretics?
it's like Sly Marbo was an inquisitor who had
totally.
a fancy throne. They always explain it like, well, he did kill a few heretics, so technically he was correct. They kind of miss out the part where he murders the entire population of the planet.
Well, how else do you leave huge armies, some planet-wide warfare to wipe out, a heretic cell?
Like it's like me trying to like wipe out the 3 or 4 people who really don't like me, and doing it by just wiping out the continent
Just
of
nuke
North
'em.
America. Yeah, and it's been like, I got the heretics. I don't know what your problem is.
Wait, keep in mind,
Okay.
he doesn't use something that would preserve lives of his army.
Oh God, no.
No. He has to lead them from his battle chair in person.
It's like he's like the professor from Futurama. Remember when he has like that lazy boy recliner that just like flies around shooting? I think he's just half asleep at most times.
Yeah, probably.
He's been lampooned a lot in the Emperor has a text-to-speech device.
Oh, really? Has he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of their popular, like, quote-unquote evil characters on
okay.
there.
That makes sense.
Makes total sense. He carries an orbital strike relay, obviously, because that's how he does it.
That's how he rolls, man.
6 or 7 different kinds of grenades, because I guess he's got, like, cup holders in the Throne of Judgment.
True.
And as Danny alluded to earlier, just a multi-melta, because if you're going to walk around in a half dreadnought, just keep the multi-melta.
This might just be compensation for him not having any psychic ability. Maybe he's like, like a guy who has a small dick, like buys like a real fancy car. Like this guy's like, well, I'll just ride around in this Throne of Judgment.
This is the Dodge Charger of the Inquisition. Or the Camaro. Where it's just like, hey, I just learned how to control, like make someone walk out from cover with my mind. Like, cool. I give my throne a multi-melta today.
And on the other side, equally as useful, I have a person writing messages down.
I hardwired your brother into that. Yeah. What's your psychic power going to do now?
Jealous much?
I think the more we kind of talk about it, he's
just a douche.
He's just a douche. He's not a bad character.
Well, I mean, he's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy, but I don't think he's a terrible character. He's just an asshole.
Yeah, he's just a douche.
And it's just like I said, lore wise, it just seems like a bunch of Lyco search terms kind of came together and like they pinged on one book. Okay, cool, I have a name,
right?
And then they're good to go on that.
So where do we rank him?
Where do we rank him?
All right, so
yeah, we're going to start at number 5.
Okay. So he starts at number 5.
Yeah, yeah. So above him, is he better or worse than the Avatar of Cain?
He is worse than the Avatar of Cain.
He is worse. So that means he moves up.
Cain is like a critical part of the fluff for the game, I feel like.
Yeah, also, it's not the Avatar's fault that they use him for the wrong task. It's like
as a plot device.
It's like me getting mad at my hammer because it won't screw in a screw. It's the wrong tool. Now, this is Battle of the Douches here.
Oh, yeah.
Is Karamazov worse than Kato Sicarius?
I don't think so.
I think he sits at 4.
I agree.
Because Kato is
he's such a Mary Sue douche. God, I hate Kato Sicarius.
He's the worst. But that's our top 5 so far. I think that's a good spot for him to go. Mitch, thank you so much for the suggestion.
Seriously, for real.
Thazar, our Necron Pirate, remains 5 weeks undefeated at the top. Then Kaldor Drago, Kato Sicarius, Inquisitor Karamazov, and the Avatar of Cain. I have a strong feeling next week that unless it's like a really good character we slip in there, like, oh, what about Gulliman?
Oh,
the Avatar is going to be dropping off next week.
I think so too.
I think so too. So that's been our top 5. Who do you want to see us talk about? Who's the worst character in 40K for you guys? Let us know. We'll probably talk about them or add them to the list of ones we want to talk about there. Yeah. We're going to be right back.
Do you have a single wound? A standard bolt gun? Having trouble maintaining an acceptable Xenos kill count? Only barely over 2 meters tall? Maybe it's time to ask your lieutenant if the Rubicon Primaris is right for you. The Rubicon Primaris is a prescription process that helps you to update that tired look. You may notice an increase in your purging abilities within 2 to 4 hours. You may experience loss of life, additional organs, and a points increase. Do not take the Rubicon if you plan on fitting into rhinos, drop pods, or other traditional vehicles. The Rubicon Primaris is not intended for second founding chapters. The Rubicon Primaris is for use on genetically enhanced super soldiers over the age of 800 only. You are encouraged to report negative side effects to your company's apothecary. The Rubicon Primaris. Because sometimes plot armor is just not enough.
Oh, we're back.
We are so back, John.
And we're not a hybrid anymore because now we're talking about. Just going to slam the table this whole recording. We're going to talk about what we've been up to hobby wise. After me going on like a 3-month hobby streak, it seems like painting up. I think
you took a little break.
3,000 points of Death Guard or something. I painted up now with this.
Dude,
point.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I took a little break. I haven't painted anything the last. Well, no, that's not true. I assembled 2 drills and I put base colors in 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was, one drill, because one was already assembled, and I was like dreading putting the second one together. And my buddy Josh was like, the last one went together fine. I'm like, oh, but man, I just remember being awful. And he was like, hey, did you remember you were really drunk when you were trying to assemble it? I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, about that.
Yeah, it was. Don't assemble Forge World drunk, kids.
That's fair. Good advice. Solid advice for everyone.
It doesn't work out. So I assembled that second one. It went a lot easier the second time. Patience is the key when it comes to the drill.
Sure.
It goes together really easily.
Yeah,
it's really well designed.
It is. It's a good. It's a well designed kit.
I kind of wish that it was just one solid piece, a la the Squiggoth, as opposed to having like the interior you can model open and things like that.
Yeah,
because I'm never going to model it. Like the first thing I did was glue those two doors together, and then slam it in there.
Titled my sex tape.
Yeah, I put those guys together. I got one of was it the Blight Bombardiers, or what was that dude called again?
Biologist Putrefier.
Yeah, the Biologist Putrefier. I found one of them. I did kind of like a little just consolidation of all my remaining Death Guard stuff I don't have painted. So
how many things do you have? Is it not that many, or do you have quite a bit?
I have quite a bit. Well, I have one more Plague Drone to do. I have a Biologist Putrefier. I have another of the Bell Dudes.
Do you have all your Blight Lords done?
A Tally Man. I need to finish up my Blight Lords.
There you go.
They're all like half done. And then... Yeah, I don't think.
Nice.
I have another. I'm missing a Blight Hauler, so I have 5 right now.
Oh, that's weird.
So I ordered another Blight Hauler, so that's going to be here soon.
Nice, man. The price on those is really good, right?
Like
it's
$25.
Yeah, seriously. Man.
Yeah. Oh no, it doesn't have any options, so who cares? They're great.
Yeah, who cares?
And then especially because they're going to be really hard to come by when people start playing 40K regularly again.
I think so too.
So I picked one of those up. Oh, another thing I picked up from a hobby store online because it couldn't be found anywhere was Lord Fest or Felthus.
Nice. Yeah, good call. So that guy's going last chance, right?
So he's last chance to buy right now. As soon as I found out, I was like, well, it's a Death Guard kit I don't have. He's a Lord of Contagion. As much as I like the one I have, if I want to run 2, I want to run 2 different ones.
Well, and he has a different weapon option.
Yeah, he has that Mana Reaper, right? Mm-hmm. So I picked, everywhere was sold out of him, but I Googled a place. What place did I get it from, just in case people want to see? Because I sent our buddy Josh to the same online store to buy a Foot Squad of Custodes, because they had those too.
Oh, nice.
So I was just like, oh, okay, that is super good. It was, this is Baxter's Game Store.
Oh, okay, cool.
I have no idea where you are.
That is your name.
I have no idea what you're doing, but you sold me a box. So thank you very much for that.
You want to hear a weird fact?
Yeah.
Lord Felthius is on a different size base than the normal Lord Contagion.
Of course he is.
Yeah, he's on a 40 millimeter.
Still in a 40?
Yeah.
Well, I sort of like that, I got to say. That's pretty handy.
Yeah.
Can't give him a relic, though, right? Because he's a named character.
No, you can give him. You can take him as a normal. So you can take him as he is,
right? Because
he has no special rules. He's just a normal Lord of Contagion with
fancy
with the Man Reaper. Yeah. Unlike his squad of Terminators, which do have their own entry technically.
Oh.
So you can take the Tainted Cohort by themselves, and they're like a 3-man Blight Lord squad that you can take if you wanted to ever just take 3 Blight Lords.
That's not bad for just kind of dropping down on an objective or something.
And
like
one
that.
of them doesn't have like a close combat weapon. He just has like a tentacle. Oh. So like you don't have to pay for a Blight Axe or whatever. So they're pretty cheap.
Yeah. That seems like a super nice little objective dropper. Something else I was like looking at today, and we'll go into this a little bit when we talk about the app, is I was looking at the Gellerpox Infected again.
Man, those models are so cool. Having painted all of them, they're rad.
Yeah, I need to pick up a set. And then the thing is, like, they have so many cool little rules, like the glitch.
The glitchlings?
The glitch things are cool. There's the like the data infected, like the Poxwalker zombie guys. Vox shambled or something like that.
Something
right?
like that. Yeah, they can like teleport. Right?
They can teleport.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
Especially like with this mission set right now, as is, like taking a patrol of Gellerpox, where I can just very cheaply like throw shit onto objectives from nowhere,
and that won't break your Nurgle. Nope. Yeah, that's really cool, actually. Neat.
So I'm thinking about picking up the because they came in the Rogue Trader set there. Mm-hmm. So I'm either going to scour eBay or try and find a set, or even just buy the Kill Team box for Rogue Trader.
I think they released them. I think in a separate box now. I think they did.
I'll take a look. Worst case scenario, it's buy the Rogue Trader box and sell the Imperial stuff.
Yeah, sure. Or you can. I'm sure you can find them on eBay or something.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think I'm going to start kind of running some of those. Like I think I've talked about for about a year and a half now that I would really like those units just rolled into the Death Guard book.
Even, yeah, that'd be fine.
But I don't think it's going to happen. But it's one can dream,
right?
I played 40K though. I did. I played
That's awesome, man.
I played 2 games.
Cool.
One against your White Scars.
True that.
And then one against our buddy Josh's Custode list. And then we found out actually like I was the last game he played as well. I played him in the start of 8th.
Oh, really?
And that was like the last time I played him. And was
That's
out there
crazy.
too.
It's been that long.
Yeah. He dropped out. He wasn't having fun with it, so he stopped. But yeah, I played his Custodes. I was trying out kind of a newer list, so I had a couple of drills. Like this one, I was a little nervous about because I started with 6 CP.
Ooh, that's not very many, John.
No, and that's I think a little bit to my detriment, especially with things like the mortal wound things, because I had to be really, really efficient with my CP.
Well, what did you spend so many CP on?
Well, funny you should ask that here. Let me pull up the list as I kind of cause a lot of background noise here. A lot of cool stuff. Like, so some of it I was super happy with. So I spent a CP to give the Chaos Lord Disgustingly Resilient.
Sure. As you do.
I spent a CP to give an extra relic for the Demon's Toll on the Noxious Blightbringer.
Sure.
So it was the 5++ invulnerable. I spent a CP to make my Plague Surgeon, reroll 1s and 2s for Mortarian's Chosen Sons. And then I spent a CP on the Contaminated Monstrosity on 2 Termite Assault Drills and a unit of Spawn.
Oh, sure. Okay, cool.
So like I was like, it was all pretty good. The Spawn, it was okay.
Okay.
Like I can see why they're like, I think just running them into or having Custodes run into them, or there's not really any.
I think that's a bad like.
There's not any fantastic targets for me to send them into against a Custodes list, so I think it's kind of a little off there from kind of my view of it. And then I will say though that the Termite Assault Drills with Disgustingly Resilient.
Yeah.
So like I ended up losing the game at 69-50, I think was the total. Neither of us scored paint scores either, so that was just kind of things there. But I stopped it from being 73 because my Termite survived a charge from a Valdor.
Nice. Okay.
Because of the Disgustingly Resilient.
Yeah, I bet.
And I spent my last command point to re-roll one of those Disgustingly Resilients.
And made it?
And I made it with 1 wound left.
Nice.
So then he turned around and just whiffed his hits because Valdor made all his Vinmons against the drill. So I'm like, cool. Story of that game, by the way, is me wounding things and then Invulns coming in and saving the day. Like it made me like, I was like, man, just Death Hex. Just let me have Death Hex. But then like afterwards, Josh was like, why didn't you use the mortal wound stuff that you have access to? And I'm like, what mortal wound stuff that I have access to?
Like the things that we've been talking about.
So like the things that we've been talking about for like literally months. But it was good. It got me some reps in. I think like moving forward, I've adjusted kind of the list. I've dropped. I had 2 Foul Blight spawns in there, 1 in each drill, just to kind of give that aura fight last.
Sure.
I dropped that down to just 1 Foul Blight spawn because what I noticed was my drills were going to the same place anyway. Like I wasn't really splitting them up.
Cool.
Because I still only had 1 Noxious Blightbringer, so it doesn't matter. I won them within 5 or 7 inches of that bell.
Right.
To together invuln. And then I took out I had a unit of 20 Poxwalkers. I took that down to 11.
Okay.
And then I just did another Plague Marine squad. So now, like the new list I'm looking at here has like a Chaos Lord, Plague Caster, 3 units of 7 Plague Marines.
Nice. Very fluffy.
Very fluffy. 4 Bolters. Sorry, no, they're 8. My bad. 4 Bolters, a Champion with a Power Fist and a Plasma Gun in each
I just
of those.
stopped listening when
I know,
you said
that's fair. People stopped listening like an hour ago before we even started recording. But yeah, 4 Bolt Guns, 1 Champion with the Power Fist and Plasma Gun.
Okay.
2 Flails and a Blight Launcher in each squad.
Oh, yeah, nice. Okay.
So 3 of those squads.
Those sound like good all-arounders.
So 11 Poxwalkers. The Power Fist actually did work. Yeah, and it was just like people don't expect it. I've never really upgraded sergeants before, but it was great.
And it's a decent number of attacks too.
Oh, it is. It really is. 11 poxwalkers because those guys were born to action. They just want
They
to
really are.
They want to investigate sites while being cloud
They
flies
just want to
all
like
day.
slime up the objectives.
I just imagine them like just in there hitting buttons on the radio tower.
Because those guys are just people that never cover their mouth when they cough. Like, that's basically what they are. They don't wear face masks.
Like Karen Walkers. I dropped it down to 1 Foul Blight spawn, Noxious Blightbringer, and the Plague Surgeon. So with all the regular CP shenanigans from those guys. 3 more Mythic Blight Haulers, which those guys.
Yeah, Mephitic are really good.
So 3 Mephitic Blight Haulers held up a Telemon Dreadnought with 2 close combat fists.
Wow.
For 3 game turns.
Wow. So like
Before
6 rounds
dying.
of combat?
Before
That's
dying.
amazing, dude.
Right? And I was like, it's not like he could leave.
Right.
And so it was really essentially all I did was like, what is my greatest threat? And I just shoved them that way. And then they just tied
that's
it up.
cool.
It was super, super cool. And then 2 Plague Burst Crawlers with Plague Spitters. Those guys are great. The extra 6-inch clutch. And so many times like I pulled that one off. And then I added a Rhino to the 2 Terex. So I have 2 Terex, 1 Rhino.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So, I mean, I feel pretty good about it. Like I said, the game really made me realize I need to, and I think we'll probably start a series on this, so I have to look at it, is like kind of really looking at the secondary objectives and choosing well. I really thought I was going to get Slay the Warlord or whatever it's called, Cut Off the Head.
Oh, sure.
Early now, because the way Custodes plays as an army, you have to be like hyper aggressive because his Warlord was a bike captain. So I'm like, okay, he will absolutely have to move up and move into combat and I'll be able to get at him. I'm not realizing that if I whiff all of my Chaos Lord's attacks, then he's not going to die. And then if he saves every single Plague Burst Mortar, he's not going to die.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need to do a better job of looking at secondaries. Like this time I did a better job of looking at primaries than in our game. Which is something we'll get into just now, but it was a fun game. Like I said, I learned a lot.
That's awesome.
And I think I said to you, like I still liked the list. It wasn't list error; it was entirely user error for a lot of the stuff that went wrong there.
And I think that's a fair, like, obviously, I think that's pretty healthy, like a pretty healthy attitude. Like, all right, these are the things I screwed up on, and you can.
So you want the number one thing I screwed up on? So there was multiple combats because I was charged, but that doesn't matter because the Flamer guy, I can't remember names today.
Foul Blightspawn.
Foul Blightspawn has an aura where you fight, you don't count as charging.
Yep.
So I get to choose what fights first.
Yep.
I didn't choose my Plague Marine squad.
Okay. Cool.
So the Plague Marine squad was in with the Forge World Terminators. What were they, the Aquilons or something?
Aquilons, yeah.
So I had a Plague Marine squad in combat with Aquilons and a Chaos Lord in combat with his Warlord.
Oh.
I chose to go with the Chaos Lord first.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it just depends, right?
He whiffed all of his attacks.
That's disappointing.
So then my opponent Josh interrupted.
As opposed to when you played me and he didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
So he interrupted with the 2 CP, wiped out that entire Plague Marine squad before they could do anything. And I'm like, well, cool. Then also what he used to really great effect as well was Custodes or what's their character called on the Valor or
Valdor?
Valdor, yeah.
Or not, well, it's
he has like
Oh my
80,000 names. We've been through this in Custodes episodes before. The character with the big old
Trajan Valorous.
Trajan Valorous. He has that special rule where it just one stratagem a turn doesn't cost any CP.
One stratagem, it's per game.
Oh, good to know. Well, he used it once a turn.
Oh.
So he was essentially
I don't think that. Maybe they fact it. I don't know.
maybe. Well, I mean, we'll take a look. There's a Warhammer app we can look at.
I'm doing that currently.
But so he was refunding a lot of the stuff of ignore AP 1 and 2.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So when I'm going into him with like Plague Flails, it
yeah, just and they getting 2-ups against that. That's
there's
pretty tough.
2-ups. It's pretty tough. So it's a tough army. Like I said, I learned a lot. And it was a super fun game. It's always fun to play Josh, even if apparently I'm the only person he plays now. And even then, it's only once an edition. Hopefully more. And then after that, Danny, we played And you pulled out your super fluffy Space Marine list.
Yeah, we played White Scar. I played my White Scars.
Your
list.
White Scars.
So I tried to make it as kind of fluffy and good as I could. Really, it was
really good.
It's a cool list.
Yeah. There was a lot of cool synergies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like as Space Marines are wont to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that game was fun. Like, did I get first turn? I think I did that.
You did get first turn.
Yeah, that was pretty good because White Scars are so fast. I was able to move up pretty quickly onto objectives and things.
Right, and kind of block.
No, you got first turn.
No, I got first turn.
Yeah,
I
assaulted you on my turn.
Right, so I moved up to try and get as close as I could to the objectives. But kind of in hindsight, I really should have gone second. If I hadn't have moved, you didn't really have line of sight to very much.
No, I wouldn't have gotten. And my army didn't have a ton of good shooting either. And most of the shooting I had was in reserve.
Right.
So, because I had 2 units of Eradicators, and one of them was on the table, one of them was in reserve. So
those guys are really good.
God, those guys are good.
Those guys are really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I took first turn, kind of went forward here. This is kind of one of the games, like my second game against you, where like the same sort of thing happened, where I didn't focus on primary, and that really cost me like hard.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, not a list issue; it's an entirely a user issue for that one there.
Sure.
What really helped you as well, though, is you made some super smart plays with a lot of your units. Again, and I think we're going to see this more and more through 9th, really controlling movement on the board.
Sure. Yeah, and I was able to block off some key movements with my impulsors, and which was super clutch. And then when I did get into combat, it was kind of on my terms, which was like I was able to buff all my guys and then get into combat, which was really powerful.
Yeah, the new bikers, the Primaris bikers, making like 22-inch moves,
yeah,
and then charging.
Right. Which
Man,
was
those poor Poxwalkers. Those guys threw out so many attacks.
Because like I can make all their guns assault, and then shoot you, and then charge you after moving 22 inches, like with one stratagem.
Yep.
And then I engaged the Forge Fiend, who had to shoot at them.
You did.
And they had a 3-up invulnerable save for moving fast.
For this game, I was pulling out, so I had mix. So I had like my Death Guard component, and then I also had like maybe a partial my LVO where it's like just demon engines.
Right.
So I had like 2 Mauler Fiends, 2 Forge Fiends. I'm like, fuck, I'll give it a try.
Sure.
Like Forge Fiends hitting on 4s moving now, just quality.
Yeah, it's good. And then if they have Lord Discordant by, they're hitting on 3s, which is great.
In combat, I mean, here I think we were talking afterwards, like, I was so excited that they could shoot in combat, but so negative at them being negative modifiers for moving when it's exactly the same goddamn situation. Like,
you were so excited that you could, but you didn't ask yourself if they should.
Because no, it's like, no, I'm just going to charge them into combat and just shoot. And I'm
Be
like,
awesome.
Yeah, 8 dice hitting on 5s. Wait, no, this isn't good at all.
Yeah, and as soon as the the discos got
the
removed,
discos went down.
Yeah. Anyway,
though the Chaos Lord did some work against those guys.
Oh man, your Chaos Lord was epic in that game.
Yeah.
So he chopped through the bikes. Then he chopped through a whole Assault Intercessor squad.
He did solo.
Right. Then he chopped through most of my big 10-minute Intercessor squad that I had as well. Like, just, he was a beast.
He was a beast, and, like, that's why he's still in my list. Like, I was like, should I take him out? I'm looking at a Lord of Contagion or something like that, but I'm like, nope.
Keep him in.
Nope.
Yeah.
All-weather Chaos Lord. And just dice games, man. The last game, it wasn't great. What else happened in that game for you?
Let's see here. I tried to have an epic combat with one of my Blade Guard veterans against your, like the last surviving member of a Blade Guard veteran squad against your, what is the caster?
No. Oh, the Malignant Plague Caster.
Yeah, the Malignant Plague Caster. And like I go in, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna mess you up, and then like just fluffed every single attack, which was the big sad.
It was a big sad because the Plague Caster just turned around and just bonked you to death.
Well, I made the save. Then he smited me and killed me, and then he charged into something else
and died.
Yeah, well, eventually, yes.
Yeah, but that Plague Caster, man, all of my guys were really heroic that time.
They were super heroic, except for the Lord Discordants.
Yeah,
they were.
I think it was funny because, like I said at the start of this year, like my goal for the year is to Death Guard keyword, and like, technically I was like Death Guard keyword that game, but like 999 points of that list was Chaos Space Marines.
And you know what? I think you're stronger for just playing pure Death Guard.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like I was looking back, I'm like, cool. Like the Lord Discordants are cool and all.
Yeah.
None of them made it into combat.
No, they did. They just
Or when they
sucked.
did, you judicared them, right? So they hit
so I was
last.
able to use the Judicar to make sure that they hit last, and then the one that you had in the middle of the table, just like
whiffed.
so bad, and then he got thunderhammered.
Yeah.
By the intercessor sergeant, just freaking nailed him.
Yeah.
And then the other one was on the flank, and he did good. I think he took out a repulsor, or almost took out a repulsor, like by himself with a shield dome, which is pretty good. But then I fell back with the impulsor, and the Eradicator showed up from strategic reserve, and we're like, "See ya, man."
So yeah, we get to shoot twice. Here's 6 fun Melta shots.
Right.
Those guys did great. Like, you used all of the new units pretty much from the.
I did.
The book.
No, except for the captain, except for the characters, the captain and the lieutenant. I didn't use them.
Right. They all did really good things. I was like super impressed with like all of them. Like the Blade Guard veterans were solid.
Oh, man, they're really good. Yeah,
the bikers were really good.
They were cool.
I think I'm excited to see what you do with like impulsors and ATVs and bikers.
Oh yeah,
and just
I can't wait to see.
Yeah. The builds that kind of come out from that one, and hopefully a more toned down Space Marine book.
I cannot wait to see the new chaplain on bike. I'm very excited to use him with my White Scars. So he seems very good.
It's super exciting. You also played socially responsibly.
Yeah. And then I'll get to my hobby stuff after that.
Yeah.
So we're going to go kind of like hobby, games, hobby.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid sandwich.
Yeah, there you go. The hybrid sandwich.
Got one of those for $35 in Vegas.
Oh man, that costs way more than $35, my friend. So or I don't know, maybe the word.
Not when you're on a podcast.
Oh, and let that be a lesson to you guys.
Yeah.
Start your own podcast.
Yeah.
So I played a tabletop simulator game. I wanted to try out the new Adeptus Mechanicus because I haven't seen them with Engine War stuff yet. And I don't want to buy like $500 worth of Cerberus Raiders.
Right.
So
as cool as they look.
They look super cool. So I played a Styges 8 list that had just a bunch of new stuff. Like I tried Iron Striders. I had 27 Cerberus Raiders. I had and those guys are the mounted guys with sniper rifles. Mm-hmm. And like all sniper rifles, right? If they roll a 6 to wound, they'll do a mortal wound as well.
Sure.
So I played against our friend Wallace. He was playing Zinch list, so he had Thousand Suns and Chaos Demons. He had 2 Lords of Change, 3 Horror units, a Demon Prince, a unit of 20 Rubric Marines, and a unit of 10 Scarab Occult.
Did he use that young Rise from the Ground strat?
Yeah. So he started the game, and he got first turn as well. So he started the game with all 20 of the Rubric Marines in the center of the table, and then just kind of buffed them up with Prescience and the Demon Prince and that kind of stuff, and then -1 to hit and also +1 invul save, and shot them twice with veterans, which was solid. I mean, that's 40 shots that hit on 2s mostly and wound on
my
2s or 3s.
My game
or
with
4s.
Josh, I forgot the veterans was a thing. I blame.
Oh yeah, that would have been really good. Yeah. Don't forget veterans, John. That's like the best stratagem in the game.
Mementoed it onto my arm.
There you
now.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Finally. So by the way, we only played 2 turns. So he his first turn he rapid fired and killed like almost an entire unit of Cerberus, and then like half strength another one. Because they were further away, they were -1 to hit, and that reduced a lot of his hits from the second squad.
Oh, for sure.
And then on my turn, I think I had pretty bad target priority, and I shot the wrong things at the wrong stuff, and I should have shot more stuff at the unit of rubrics in the middle of the table, and I shot I tried to shoot like my like a couple of my onagers as well as the Ballistari, the Iron Striders at a Lord of Change. So that was my bad. I shouldn't have wasted shots. I think I did like 5 or 6 wounds to that Lord of Change. So I mean I did work, but
you could have done more work to the rubrics,
and that cost me the game actually. So like I did a bunch of wounds to I shot them with some other units, and I think I killed like 5 or 6 with shooting, and then I charged them with 10 Electro Priests, the Fulgurite Electro Priests as well. And then I rolled like no 6s. Like I had such a bad shooting turn with them, and then a bad close combat turn, like back to back. like when I was just targeting that unit, like I rolled 1 6 to wound with the Fulgurites, so that does D3 mortal wounds, and of course I rolled 1 mortal wound.
Sure,
and
of
then,
course, yeah.
And then so they killed, I think in total like four Rubric Marines for a full squad of 12, which is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yep. So just all in all, like some pretty bad luck on my part. The Cerberus Raiders, all those mortal wounds on 6s, I rolled no 6s. I shot with 15 of them or 16 of them and did no mortal wounds.
If GW was smart, they would load dice in Tabletop Simulator.
There you go.
So you go out and buy all the models afterwards.
They'd like be listening in and they'd flip a switch to turn on, like, or have an algorithm that did that. Yep. So, and then his turn, like the Scarab cult came in and like he fell back and shot with the rubrics. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yes. So that ended poorly for me. I don't think we really kept score. I think he was up by 9 points at the end of turn 1, or his turn 2. So I was like, I mean, we can play this out, but it's not going to be pretty.
Sure. And especially with Tabletop Simulator.
And it was getting late, so it was just easy to stop.
Yeah.
But it was fun to play. I wish I would have gotten to see a little bit more of the Mechanicus's like output because it's crazy good. I still think AdMech is one of the best. Is like if not the best army in the game, like one of the best armies in the game for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's games Danny's played.
Oh, and then Hobby.
Hobby.
I did do Hobby.
You did do Hobby. Yes.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I did. Let's see. I painted up 10 death marks.
You did. You painted a bunch of death marks.
Yep. So
Little snipey assholes.
I've never used those guys before, so I'm excited to try those out. Hopefully, I roll some more 6s to wound on those guys.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, we'll see. And then I also am almost finished with 2 more Triarch Stalkers, just because
I saw that. Yeah. You have some you put that up in your hobby progress this week here
for Whip Wednesday.
You have that wonderful blue speckle.
It's looking spicy.
Blue speckled hen.
That's right.
That's what your Triarch is.
So that's our progress this week.
That's our progress. And next time it'll be back at the start like it's supposed to be. It's going to break out the mold sometimes.
That's right.
Earl Hagen was a legend. In 1960, he whistled his way into Hollywood and into our hearts. Decades later, he made a comeback, lending those lustrous lips in the 1980s to such bands as the Scorpions, Guns N' Roses, and Pat Benatar. A half-century after his humble beginnings, he's at it again. This time without cumbersome musical accompaniment, he'll have you wetting your whistle and whistling along. His new album, Earl Whistles Disney, is sure to be a hit with all generations. Order now and receive a bonus album, Earl Whistles More Shit, a collection of previously unreleased material of Earl's favorite songs through the years. On this bonus album, he demonstrates his newly mastered technique of inward whistling. Order yours today on compact disc or double-length cassette. Also available at fine retailers such as Walgreens, CVS, and participating Sam Goody stores. Earl Whistles Disney. Buy it today.
Oh man, we're back once again. Today, right now, we're going to be talking about the Warhammer 40,000 app.
Yep.
It's been covered to death, but not covered in our hybrid style.
That's which is an important storytelling medium.
Which is. So I will say, full disclosure before we start this, we did get provided with a free key for this. Which neither of us used.
Yeah, I mean, I feel kind of bad about that, but we also both subscribed immediately, so like they got our money.
Yeah.
So
we were like a lot of reviewers were given kind of review copies that were good for a week. I was like money bags over here, subscribed day one, a full week before it was working
for iOS.
Which both of us use. And then you also subscribed as soon as it was feasible, which is what some of us should do. But in the US, $5 a month, which was less than I thought it was going to be.
That's not. I thought it was going to be £5, and then we were going to have to pay like $7.
But they seem to be pricing it internationally in a sensible way and not kind of in a straight conversion way, which is super nice, especially when it's all like the Forge World stuff. I was like,
yeah.
Oh. So for what it does right now, Spoiler review, and you can turn off and comment how I'm wrong after this. It's worth the money.
Yeah, just go ahead. Oh yeah, I totally agree. Like the searchable feature of the rules is so huge. Like that has saved me so much time already. Like I don't have to bring all my books with me. It's right there in front of me. I'm going to put it on. I haven't put it on my iPad yet, but I'm very excited to do so.
Right. Right now, Battleforge, their army builder, isn't there. The core rules right now are just a PDF. They have released an update saying that it will be searchable soon. It will be more kind of to the app format than what it was. I think what people got upset about was there was a combination of slight overpromise on Games Workshop's part.
Sure. Yep.
And huge over expectation from the community's part.
I also agree with that. Like I'd say it's like a 50-50.
It's 50. It's 50. I mean, GW could have done a little bit to temper the expectations down.
Yes.
All I wanted it for was a searchable rules resource.
Yeah, so I can look at what my opponent's rules are, like without, like I can just be like, okay, what does this do, and search it.
So, like for an example, during my game with Josh, like I was just on the app when he would tell me a stratagem, and I'd be like, I would search it up. I'm like, cool, I'll find it. Beforehand, like even like I even though I have most of them in iBooks, I would go to iBooks.
Right, then I'd have to
search for the book.
Right.
Open the book, search for the strat.
Yep.
This one just makes it everything like a little easier to find. At this point, it's just a rules resource.
Yep.
It is for early 9th, at least up until November when Necrons and Space Marines come out in their new codexes. For $5 a month, you get every single rule set in the game right now currently. Some of them have questionable formatting. Like a lot of it is alphabetical as opposed to kind of other stuff. So like for some of the Psychic Awakening, it gets confusing.
So that was a little bit of a, like if I had a quibble with it, right, that would be one of my quibbles. The other thing that I didn't necessarily love was the issue that iOS users had.
Right off the bat. The Falcon paradox. The Falcon loop is what we call it.
Which is not to be confused with the Falcon punch. That's a different thing.
So when the app, it was a little rocky. I think they learned very quickly that Apple has very different standards for app launches than Google does. It didn't launch in iOS right away, and they said it was coming really soon. And so about a week later, it launched.
Yeah, it might have been a little bit less than a week, but it was pretty close to that speed. And then when it did release, right, it had trouble authenticating your account if you were a subscriber. So if you ever force close the app or close the app, every time you tried to log in, it would try and ask you to log back in again, and then it would say, "Oh, you're already a subscriber," and you could say, "Okay, cool." So you would restore purchases, and it'd be like, "No, you have to subscribe to do that."
Yeah,
and so it was this endless loop that you couldn't get out of.
Which luckily I read Peter the Falcon say he was stuck in, and instantly it was like, "Never close this app." Ever, and I never did.
And so Danny is like, as a software tester, often as part of my job, I'm like, oh yeah, well let's see if that's actually true. Oh yeah, it's totally true. I'm an idiot.
Let's recreate this.
Yep.
So and right now, a lot of the issues I have with it, as purely a rules resource, are very easy to take care of. Like, and it's even just adding subfolders. So like for the Psychic Awakenings, split it into the factions first. Because and what's super nice is they are very receptive to this feedback, and they've we've sent them feedback and they've said thank you. And so I for the Psychic Awakening, I want to see these guys split into factions and then the stratagems, because going through and trying to show Josh what the Allwither does in the app wasn't so hard because it's right up at the top. But maybe the Demon's Toll, I have to go through like Death Guard, Bile, Custodes, relics to get to that one.
So you could just search for the whole thing for that toll. If you know what the name of it is.
I will say I didn't remember the name of it at the time.
And that has happened to me before where I'm like, I don't remember what the name of the stratagem is. I know what it does. I know what book it's in. And then I'm like, okay, I guess I'll have to scroll through all alphabetical like instances of stratagems from the Psychic Awakening. And it was Engine War, so there's like a million.
Yeah. The other issue I had with it was just the search was term specific, so it wasn't like a super intelligent search.
It's not a fuzzy search either. So you have to have the name right of the stratagem, rule, or whatever else, not a part of the rule that you would search for.
Right.
Like assault
So
or grenade.
Just as an example, like right now in the app, I type in Blight Hauler, but I put a space in between Blight and Hauler, not a dash.
Oh.
And it comes up with nothing because it's Blight dash Hauler. So like for me, like I don't know that. So like, and I only find that out by just kind of backing out and just having Blight there and kind of scrolling through the 30 things that have Blight.
Right.
And noticing there is a dash there. And that's causing
I
it.
had a problem with that part of it, where if you have multiple results, I had problems scrolling through the results of the search.
Mm-hmm.
So like it would get stuck on just like the first results that show up, and I can't scroll down. Like I can pull it down, but I can't like scroll through the list. Like I was having problems with that, which was pretty unfortunate. Like so I had to be more specific to narrow the search down after I did that, which was annoying.
I really feel for the 3 or 4 interns who had to enter all of this data
and all of their typos.
and all of their there's a lot of typos. Strength 65 Shuriken Cannon, I think, is the favorite one right now. There's also like, did you notice that when you posted that Sister of Battle stratagem in our Discord, by the way? Yeah, Danny posted a stratagem for Sisters of Battle in our Discord, and it was Deadly Descent, but it's spelled decent. So it's just like deadly decent. And I'm like, man, that describes that stratagem for a T. And you're like, what?
I'm like, yeah, it does. That's exactly what it does. It's the descent that they're making, like without even reading it.
But I think what's a little disappointing is, I mean, and if you want kind of more like a technical behind the scenes kind of review of this, High Lords of Terror did an amazing episode where they broke down why it wasn't a great launch.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was a good episode.
And why the app isn't super fantastic technically.
Yep.
I can only talk about this from a user standpoint.
Right. Like, yeah.
And I see the promise in what it does. And I've spent $5 a month on way less.
Absolutely. Stupid things.
On stupid things, like Mob Rules Patreon.
Right.
Which absolutely is a worse purchase than this.
Yep.
But what's really solidified it for me was their response to the community's response.
Yes, so almost like within a week, they already had released a patch that fixed for me most of the errors, like the login loop error, the Falcon loop error,
Falcon loop,
and then which was great.
Yeah, so a lot of it's been fixed. They've released a roadmap to when the improvements will go in, when it'll happen, and like my challenge, because I'm part of a lot of forums, a lot of groups. When people would complain about these things, I'm like, are you just complaining about this here, or are you letting Games Workshop know?
Yep,
this is an issue.
That's a fair statement.
Because I'm all one to sit and bitch about stuff, but I'm going to make sure it's corrected, because this app isn't going away. Based on the look of it, the layout of it, the fact that the majority of units have full pictures and everything, a lot of money was spent on this.
Yeah. I mean,
for GW standards,
sure.
Not for app development standards, for sure. Because
I agree.
I think what happens is they came in with this grandiose vision, and just everything was like, oh wait, how? What? Okay. But they've invested too much money in this now to stop.
And it seems like maybe the app development team is being shared by Age of Sigmar as well.
Right, because Azir is dried up in any kind of update right now.
Right, because everybody's been hard cracking on sprints for this 40K app, right?
Right.
So, we'll see. We'll see how this.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I've got some very angry people at me online. Like, there's a couple of blogs that really called me. It was a sad, lonely little man. I think I got called by someone.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh man, I missed that.
And I'm
You'll have to tell me about it.
You know me. I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's probably pretty accurate, but I mean, you're still wrong. But yeah, this app wasn't designed to replace everything. It's designed to be.
It's a play raid.
It's a play raid. And I think like people were just getting so worked up. Like I was like talking to a guy about it, and he was just like, "Well, when this is mandatory, what do we do?" And I'm like, "At what point did they say it was mandatory?"
Well, okay. So I can understand that. Like I think a large portion of the idea is that this will be a validation for legal lists.
Sure. Which I love Azir for, and I can't wait for that to happen.
Right. And then, so it might be mandatory for you to submit a file or an output from this application to a tournament application.
Right.
And then that will be uploaded to the database.
But here's the thing. If I don't like this app, I don't want to use this app, I'm just like, hey, Danny, here's my list. Can you enter this into the thing?
Sure.
Cool. Or get one subscription for your game group.
Sure. They might do that.
You know what I mean? So those things. I mean, I hope there was for a community that was so pro Battlescribe or Best Close Pairings demanding a certain format for lists.
Right.
So it was easier to check and easier to validate, and no one was cheating on their list.
Which people still cheat.
Which people still do. But yeah, it's just like there's a lot of pushback, and I think it's just evil Big Daddy coming down, making things happen.
I agree.
But right now, like I said, I spent the week looking at Gellerpox Infected, which I would never have done without the app, if I'm being honest with you.
Sure.
During a game, just looking up rules. So when Josh says blood games for like the 15th time, I finally look up what it does. I'm like, oh, it's really solid. But I know, like I don't have to, and it takes some of the awkwardness out, because I know as well, playing a game in a tournament setting or a competitive setting, there's a little bit of trepidation. Like if I'm playing Danny and I've never met you before, and you tell me a rule does something, maybe I don't want to be like, hey, show me how that works. Yeah. I mean, there's like a little awkwardness there. Whereas if I have a resource, I can look it up and be like, hey, man, that doesn't do that.
Right.
I feel better about doing that, especially when playing a top 150 ITC player.
Right. Which you're automatically going to lose all the
which unless anyway. I have like my eyes crossed into. So I guess, the app, damn, it's definitely 100% needed for lower level tables.
That's right.
I'm a fan. It's early stages. It was never going to be perfect out of the gate.
Yeah, I agree.
For a company that releases codexes and FAQs them 2 weeks later, and we're celebrating that as a win.
Right.
Anyone who was
get realistic a little bit.
Anyone who was expecting this app to come out 100% perfect,
polished, right?
And it's not. And we are currently in a live beta test of this app, and the only thing that's going to make it better is if what we find funny and point out and complain about online, we directly provide as feedback to GW. Don't fill their email box telling them not to be inclusive. Fill their email box with issues with the app.
Yeah, like real problems.
Like real problems that people actually care about.
Yep.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the app.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the app overall.
I mean, we're pretty positive people, like irritatingly so a lot of the time. But
sorry about that.
How dare I? But I mean, like, we'll laugh at the typos.
Yep.
There's some things like I wish the search was smarter. So like if I want to search for like Korvax, Utterblight, Demon Prince of the Ruinstorm, I don't remember that. I don't remember where the apostrophe lies in Korvax. Make it a little easier for me to search. But again, this I feel comes over time and comes over feedback.
It'd be nice if you could search by keyword or by faction keyword even. That would be a nice way to.
And those army of interns in the Black Ship in Nottingham, just they'll add keywords to things.
I think it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. I just keep calm.
Give it time.
Give it time. It'll be right there. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. I'm assuming 90% negativity down there, but I'll reply with a thumbs up. Like, honestly, an honest opinion's good. And if I'm looking at this through rose-colored glasses, let me know. And let me know exactly kind of where in the app the issues are and what it is. And let's work to kind of make this the best gaming tool since the wonderful things provided by Hammerhead Games.
You've mastered the art of the Stanley. You've downloaded the ITC Battles app. You've loaded your dice to guarantee your charge. Now perfect your game with Mob Rules measuring accessories. Made of the finest acrylic and carrying the skill of the Danny, the tactics of the Dave, and something positive about John. Get yours now at hammerheadgames.net.
Oh man, and we're back.
We are back.
I kept the lights on for this one, even though we're not going to record that. This is just like a little Mob Rules after dark.
You just wanted to
while also under like heavily lit, but not the backlight,
but not the fun kind of lit, John.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we're just going to run this out here today. Just kind of our standard. We're going to go through some of the cool stuff that happened in the Mob Rules Discord, available for life for a one-time fee from Patreon.
Yeah.
Throw us $1. Don't. Who cares? Throw us $1, then instantly quit. We don't kick you out of the Discord. That is, I can't even edit this podcast, let alone manage a Patreon Discord. Yeah.
We're not in this for the big dollars.
No, we're in this for the medium moolah.
Yeah.
But some great stuff came up there this last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it sure did.
Our hobby channel has so many amazingly painted armies.
Dude, no kidding. I'm so proud of our Patreons. Like, they do so much good work.
It's such a great a great thing to see. And especially like if I'm like, I don't really feel like painting or I feel down, I go in and I see like Voltanus has painted like another 20 Poxwalkers to like a grade standard. I'm like, well, shit, I guess I can paint one drill.
Fine, I guess.
Fine, whatever.
Fucking show off.
Joke's on him. He's got to paint 40 more to be good.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, we had some Nate Dogg posted some really cool like turn trackers.
Yeah.
So I ordered some of those. Those are really neat.
Yeah, those will hopefully come in the next week or so. We'll take some pictures, throw them up there. But
man,
those
they look
are turn, command point, and secondary trackers.
Yep.
So they're super cool.
And primary points.
And primary points. So they come from Rampage Games and their Etsy store. And they are kind of laser cut MDF. But the secondary trackers are made from laser engraved acrylic. So you can switch them out for whatever secondary you're doing.
Yep.
So if you don't necessarily want to have your ITC Battles app open, or if, for example, like me, you have your Warhammer app open and you don't want to switch between the two, it's a really quick and easy way to kind of change out. And I think using a lot of these tools for other games like Malifaux and Infinity and things like that, I really appreciate like a good visual in front of me at all times without worrying about my phone battery. So those were super great things, and I would never have found them.
I know, yeah, it was just part of our Patreon. Some
tips thrown in there, so it's great. We had some great recaps for game recaps coming up, and that's become a thing to the point where I almost want to make it its own channel for game recaps.
I know, yeah. Well, we have a channel for game recaps.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah, good job you or me or whoever did that.
It was you.
But darn, good job me.
Give myself a little pat on the back here.
Yeah. But well, as I hurt myself, patting myself on the back. Matthew Darnell, he shared some really great game recaps he's had from his crusade.
Yeah.
I think he's playing his kid and his wife.
Yeah, his whole family.
His whole family's in a great crusade campaign and really getting us excited.
So
for
it's
that.
like Custodes versus Tyranids versus something. Necrons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so some super good stuff and some Lord of the Rings stuff. Which every time I see the Lord of the Rings stuff gets posted, I'm like, man, I should play Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, dude. Let me know.
That looks super fun.
I totally have an army of Lord of the Rings.
I have like the Goblin. Oh, that's the Hobbit, the Goblin set. But yeah.
Yeah, but you can play that same system.
Yeah, I was very tempted every time I see it, but it's weird, right? Because I know we've been playing 9th edition where like terrain is super, super dense.
Oh yeah, and
he posted his table and it's like one ruin in a corner and a stream.
Oh man, it's the Battle of the Ford, dude. It's gonna be it's gonna be lit.
But dude, Russell posted like, I think the thing that sold me where I was like, yeah, I got to play Lord of the Rings, was he posted 2 Momax, which is the two giant elephants.
They're pretty cool.
And I'm like, oh, those things are amazing. I don't need another game system, but I do. I really want that.
We had the Welshman. He posted some great pictures. First of all, the boards he plays on are beautiful, and also, but he posted this picture of his opponent. He basically blocked his whole opponent's army with 3 scarab bases, and like the look on his face is just utter defeat. He's like, "Welp, I guess that's game then."
I really want to talk to him because I want to use that as a reaction gif because I think our reaction picture because I think that would blow up because that is literally my face at least once a game for the 3 games. So his opponent was running like an orc army.
Yeah.
Everything was in battle wagon. Everything was a vehicle or mounted or something. And of course, 9th is terrain dense. And so there was one gap on the board of ruins. And like Welshman just put 3 scarab bases along that gap.
It's like, I guess, it's like,
fuck me, I guess. Yeah. That's how it was. But that guy's face, oh my God, like,
it's classic.
Obviously, I mean, we're terrible people, but we're not going to post it without permission.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But that guy's face is just, that is me.
Yeah.
Like at a GT or at a major.
I've seen it.
That is my face. You've seen that face from me several times where I'm just like, well, fuck me, I guess. Okay. It was perfect. It was super good.
It was epic. We had some pretty decent beams too from a lot of different members.
Yep.
I liked your Primaris Lieutenant meme.
Yeah, not very many people get it's a wonderful Breakfast Club reference.
Yeah,
because there's so many people bitching about how Space Marines are getting so much and Space Marines are getting Primaris. So I got the principal from the Breakfast Club and I just put a Primaris Lieutenant helmet on him, and it was just like, I can do this all day. You want one more?
Yeah.
Here's another Space Marine. And I was like, oh, but I want Chaos. And another. And I'm like, that's GW right now. It's like they just have this back stock of like Space Marine releases, and every time someone bitches, Like, I'm sure there's like a sand timer or like a scales of justice in GWHQ.
No, dude, it's just a clock like in like reset the clock.
Oh yeah, reset the clock.
and-
They bitched about Primaris again. Release another lieutenant.
Hey, we're not allowed to talk about Primaris, remember?
that's true. That's not appealing to our casual audience.
We did have to talk some folks down off the roof a little bit because we had our recent GT, like the last one of the year, got canceled finally.
Yeah, and that's one I've been involved with, like on the admin side for years. Our battles on Ursa, and just for me, like this year, I'd scaled back my involvement to really. My involvement this year was marketing and promotion and kind of things like that there. But it was something I felt very strongly about that shouldn't happen.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. It's not a good. It's just not the year for it.
It's not my call whether it went ahead or not. But
Right.
like last week, they made the difficult decision to not run it this year, which I'm 100% behind. I don't think, as a rule, if your area is able to manage COVID well, then it might be safe to start that.
Yeah.
Alaska as a state right now, no, not so much.
Yeah, it's just not. We're just not there.
No, we're not there. We will be, and like Danny and I, we've both been talking. I have some really good manageable ways to start running small scale RTTs in the future.
Yep.
But that has to come at a point where the place we're at as a whole is managing much better, because the last thing I would want is for me to run an 8-man RTT and then have that be like a little cluster outbreak.
I know. That would be the worst.
So that would be the worst. So like I'm hoping like September, October sometime.
Yeah.
I think I'll be able to kind of get something going there. But I understand people are super bummed about it. And it's just more of a kind of like life as we know it is really sucky right now.
It is.
And it's just finding those little nuggets of fun. So like I know, Danny, we've been playing a lot more, like because I think outside of my family, you're really the only person I see.
Same, pretty much. Yeah.
So we've been playing a lot more, and that's been kind of great. And it's just kind of it's seeing the silver lining and kind of the storm clouds around.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. So there's been some bumming out about that, but it's kind of nice to. It's nice to vent in a group. Where
especially if it's something you're really excited about, right?
Yeah, where you'll be heard and like understood, but at the same time explained that that's
and our town in particular is not in a good place. So
no, it definitely not. But yeah, speaking about other things that aren't in a good place, that's in our Discord, by the way. Now you get free access for life by throwing us like very little money, which you definitely should not do.
And the Discord is in a great place, by the way.
We
right?
we are not worth any amount of money, regardless of what it says. But Danny and I, as we said last episode, we're going to start running a Crusade campaign.
Yep.
We're super excited to use that system. We had our power levels planned out. Everything was good to go. And then as part of the roadmap to improvement for the app, they made mention that next month all power levels are changing and updating.
Cool. Great. I'm excited.
So I'm excited for that. We are going to delay the start of our narrative power level based campaign until those changes go through. Because I don't want to kind of be in a place where like we put our two lists up and our 250 power level list suddenly become a power level 40 list and a power level 65 list.
Yeah, right. And that would be the big sad.
Yeah, that would be the big sad for me because I would have the power level 40 list. Though I would have like a built-in excuse for consistently losing, and really that's all I want. And then in the long run is I just want kind of like a backup.
To be honest, I don't think my list is going to change at all because I'm using every unit from Indominus.
Yeah.
So I don't think my stuff will change very much, and that's fine. Like, but I want to make sure that your list is going to be pretty close because I imagine the values in Indominus are pretty close to where they're going to be.
I would imagine they are.
But we'll see, right?
I think Plague Marines will go up.
Maybe. We'll see because so think about this. Right?
Yeah.
Like they didn't change power level at all throughout 8th edition.
Mm-hmm.
Plague Marines started very expensive and then got cheaper throughout the entire edition. Every single chapter.
You think there might be less?
And then they went back up slightly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you probably will get some reductions. That'd be my guess.
We'll see. But yeah, we're very excited to get that started. But again, neither of us, when we're going, and we don't really want to stop and go back.
Yep, exactly.
And Danny wants to beat me fair and square without an asterisk.
Of course.
Believe me.
I would jump on that asterisk
the shit out of that. Like as soon as even if it was like
Absolutely.
even if it was like 50 power level Danny, 49 power level John.
Oh,
I'd be like,
fuck
well,
you,
fuck,
Danny.
you just beat me because you had
Piece of
more.
shit.
Yeah, you cheater.
Fucking cheating piece of shit. You had an inside leak on me, and I know that you knew that your power levels.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Why am I even recording this? What is even going on right now? Good times.
Word.
Well, Danny, have you got anything else you want to add to that there?
No, dude. I think I'm all spoke out.
You're all spoke out. Me too. Well, I mean, for mob rules. Oh man,
classic.
That classic John era of playing the wrong thing.
I love it.
Yeah, top 30 for 30. All the people in chapter tactics really liked us. They just obviously don't listen because
some fart noises.
Yeah, fart noises. But yeah, for mob rules, I've been John.
I've been Danny.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks.